It's Fans Corner. Welcome to it and thank you for making time for us. We are back in the international stage. Our focus now is on the 2026 FIFA World Cup Qualifiers. We've just watched Bafana South Africa against Nigeria out at the Free State Stadium, also known as the Toyota Stadium, and that game ending in a draw of goals. One goal apiece between the two rivals out at the Toyota Stadium. If you haven't done so already, before we get into the game, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Off Air Podcasts on YouTube, and also check us out on Facebook. It's Fans Corner. Like and follow us there, and also check us out on TikTok. It's Fans Corner. Rather follow our page there. Your support is very much appreciated. A very tense game of football, as it is to be expected when these two countries meet. Big rivals in the African continent, South Africa versus Nigeria. And if there's any game as a South African, I'm speaking for myself and many South Africans when I say, if there's any game that we as South Africans want to win in the international on the international stage, it doesn't matter what the price is. It could be a friendly game, for all we care. It doesn't matter, as long as it's a game of football between Nigeria and South Africa. If there's any game that I want to win, that is the game. We could lose 10 games in a row. If we win that one particular game against Nigeria, I don't care. I'll forgive them for all the other games that they would have lost if that's the case. But imagine now, the stage is even bigger. We are playing to qualify for the World Cup. And we are in the driving seat, and I feel like tonight they were there for the taking. Having watched the first half, the way that we controlled the game in the first half, we grew into the game, and I'm pretty sure they were not expecting that. They had to find their feet after some time, and they struggled, Nigeria, a little bit in the first half. We were on top of them. We were all over them. But the goal scoring opportunities, we couldn't create enough. Yes, we got the goal through an own goal from the Nigerian captain, because it was a very beautiful cross from Mohaun Kota. Had he missed it, the captain, I think it would have still found Lyle Foster on the other side, and he would have actually, I think he would have slotted in. It was just a sitter, a tap in kind of a situation. So we were very fortunate to get that particular goal as an own goal, but I think after that, Nigeria kind of grew into the game, because towards the end of the first half, it was just Nigeria, and they were really looking for that equalizer. It was a very intense game of football, as you would expect. I mean, it's South Africa versus Nigeria, one of the big rivalries in African football. It's a game that makes the entire continent to sit back and watch. It's a very popular game in the African continent. There are many other countries that they would have watched this particular game. And what is at stake, what makes it even more bigger than the usual game between these two, is what is at stake, because Nigeria came into this game needing to win. They had to win to keep their hopes alive of at least trying to upset the situation with Bafana and try to claim that number one spot. But it wasn't to be for them. They came for us actually towards the end of the second half. Even the beginning of the second half, I could say Nigeria ended the first half very well, and started the second half very well. It looked like they were the team that really wanted to get the goal, and they eventually got their goal. But we also, I think, at some point, excuse me, we looked like we were too cautious at some point because of what is at stake. Because South Africa did not need to beat Nigeria to qualify, but Nigeria needed to beat South Africa in order to keep their hopes alive. But South Africa did not have to. So I guess South Africa, as you would have seen, they were okay with the draw. They said, if we can't lose the game. I think that was the mentality of South Africa. We can't lose the game. If we can't win it, let's not lose the game. And that's what they actually went for. But I feel like there were chances there. There were chances for us to actually kill this game. This is not the same Nigeria that it's either we've become better, or this is the Nigeria that doesn't look like the Nigeria of former years. So on that front, I feel like this was a missed opportunity on our side. we could have done much better. What does this mean in the context of qualification? This is the part where we now take calculators out and try to analyze the situation. No need to take out your calculators. We can actually talk through this together. South Africa are now on 17 points with 2 games to go. We still have to play Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Rwanda, remember, this is the only team that has managed to beat us in these qualifiers. Remember that game that we played literally on the water surface. We literally had to swim in that pitch, and we lost the game to Rwanda through a very terrible pitch. Speaking of the pitch, I'm sure you would have seen how Nigerian media were portraying the entire situation at the Free State Stadium, calling it a rugby stadium. The pitch is terrible. Okay, the pitch was not the best of pitches. We've seen better pitches before. We've seen that particular pitch looking much better than it looks right now. Yes, it is a rugby stadium, as it is with many stadiums in South Africa that are of multi-purpose, and we use rugby stadiums for football games. Sometimes rugby games are played in football in a football stadium. We've seen a rugby game playing at the FNP Stadium. We've seen a rugby game playing at Orlando Stadium, if you remember back then in 2010 when the stadiums were still being fixed. So our stadiums are not necessarily marked to say this is only soccer, this is only rugby. The only stadiums where you see not so much changes happening are the likes of your what is that stadium next to Moses Mabhida? Moses Mabhida hosts pretty much soccer games, because right next to it, across the road, it's the Kings Park. I think that's what it's called, right? Kings Park Stadium, where the Sharks play their games. Otherwise, most of our stadiums are rugby and football. We see Bombela Stadium hosting the Springboks. We've seen the Nelson Mandela Bay hosting the Springboks. We've seen, I mean, when it comes to South Africa, it can be any game can be played at any stadium. So I don't think it was a genuine cry by the Nigerians to say we put them in a rugby stadium. Yes, the pitch was like that for both teams. It's not like this is the pitch for Nigeria, it's terrible, this is the pitch for South Africa, it's better than that one. They play on both sides of the pitch. It was for both teams. Yes, it's not the best of pitches, yes, but this is Africa, guys. We've seen worse pitches than that one. There are countries that would kill to get that kind of a pitch in their countries. Some countries right now, as we speak, in the African continent, are not playing their own game, are not playing their home games at their own stadiums in their own countries. Zimbabwe, case in point, they use South Africa for their home games. Lesotho, another example. We've got a number of countries that don't play their own games in their own countries because they don't have stadiums that are worth that are certified to host these international games. So I think that one is was just an excuse from Nigeria to say if we don't win, we'll say we couldn't play in that pitch. Both teams had to play in that particular pitch. It was a difficult pitch. We saw that, not a good pitch, but at the end of the day, we've seen games being played in stadiums far worse than that. So that was just a lame excuse from our Nigerian counterparts. That was a lame excuse from them, unfortunately. I saw this other video of this lady at the stadium. She's like some kind of a reporter, just complaining about the pitch. At the end of the day, the game was played and both teams could not win. But in the context of the qualification, I had to off ramp a little bit there. South Africa on 17 points. The next team next to South Africa is Nigeria with 11 points. As I'm recording this video, it's 18 minutes before 9. At 9 o'clock, it will be Benin against Lesotho. Those results are important in the context of qualification because if Benin win that game, they're at 11 points. They would go to 14 points, which will be 3 points behind South Africa. So the biggest threat that right now is pretty much Benin, but they still if they win all their games, they get to 20 points because they are now at 11 points. They've played one game less than South Africa because on the I'm looking at the group now. Yes, Benin are they've played 7 games. Remember, each team must play 10 games. So Benin have 9 more points to play for. If they get all 9 points, they go to 20 points. Bafana are on 17 points with 2 games to go. If they win their next game, they get to 20 points, which is the maximum amount of points that Benin can get. This is where it gets interesting. Okay? So those are the biggest threat. Nigeria, to get rid of them, it's very easy to get rid of Nigeria from this competition, from this qualification contest, because we just need 1 point. Nigeria are on 11 points with 2 games to go for them. They can only get to 17. We are already at 17 with just one point. They're out. Simple as that. So I think our road is looking very promising. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So we don't need to take out calculators. I think we just need to understand the qualification rules. And I feel like right now we're very close. We're very, very close to qualifying. I was not impressed with how we celebrated the draw. Yes, I understand there's a lot at stake, okay? But there's pride also at stake. Other than just qualification, I saw our players and our technical team celebrating a draw against Nigeria. And I thought to myself, I don't think that's a picture that I want to see, especially against Nigeria. It's not just about the qualification. For me, there's a lot at stake. We can celebrate a draw because of what it does for us in terms of qualification. But I think let's rather do that behind closed doors. I mean, celebrating a draw at home, it just doesn't feel right. I know that some of you will attack me and say, hey, Chief, it's important. Yes, it was an important point, but it just looking at it, the pictures did not look so good. But to our defense, actually, it was not just us. You saw Nigeria when they scored their equalizer. The way they celebrated as if they had won the game. They had actually qualified for the World Cup. And unfortunately for them, they ended up drawing the game, which is not a good result for them. It's a good result. A draw was a good result for South Africa. A terrible result for Nigeria, because by just coughing, we can just shake them off the table there. Simple as that. I'm happy with the draw. I'm happy with where this puts us. I'm looking forward to our next game against Zimbabwe. We do very well against these SADC teams, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably beat Zimbabwe and qualify after that particular game. It also depends on what happens between Benin and Lesotho tonight. As I'm recording, like I said, the game between Benin and Lesotho is about to start. I don't expect Lesotho to really give Benin much of a tough time. Probably Benin will win that game and get to 14 points, which will be 3 points behind us. Those of you who will be watching the game, who will be watching this video after that game had taken place, I know this one makes sense, but I'm just talking about the predictions in terms of that game, that particular game. Otherwise, thank you for your time. This has been Fans Corner. We will meet again in the next one.